Hi, Frank. Thanks for joining me to discuss your experiences with anxiety and how you're thinking differently about mental health.
Hi, well, I'm Franky, and pleasure to be here. And so I run a theater company, or actually it's entertainment. It's an entertainment business called Corcoran Entertainment. Theatrical productions. We have a weekly podcast. Among other things, we're looking to do some expansions. We're working on some stuff. Connecting. We're making lots of connections throughout, not just here in Miramichi and in Canada, but also countries and other provinces in the area. And this is my dog Ozzy. I'm a big dog guy.
Notice Ozzy.
Ozzy, yeah, he's
well behaved.
Very well behaved. 2 years old, golden doodle. He's not golden really, but I mean that's his breed. And yeah, so I mean it's funny that we're talking about anxiety. You don't realize until you get a dog just how much of a relief it is to have a dog with you.
Yes, for sure. Because I've always seen persons have dogs and they're so connected, and other people who are not dog lovers tend to it's just a dog. Like, you don't have to do the most. Why are you so human-like with a dog? But they're not understanding that it's actually therapeutic to have a dog.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's not even why I got a dog. I mean, I've always just loved dogs. I mean, to me, I never even thought about it. And I mean, I've had a family dog who we lost back in 2019, and I didn't get my own dog until 2022. And it was just one of those, I've always wanted a dog. And so once I got the dog, I didn't realize just how therapeutic it was to have a dog. Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things where you don't realize how important kids are until you actually have kids.
That's true.
I guess that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. So let us delve into the questions. Yeah. How do you channel anxiety into your creative work?
It's a great way to relieve stress, to relieve anxiety. Even in some like plays and scripts and stuff like that I write, I always try to incorporate, based on my experiences, what anxiety is and what, because the thing with anxiety is that people think, they're like, oh, it's fine. Like, I don't have anxiety.
That's
until
true.
They see like something in a play or a movie or something like that and go, oh yeah, I actually do that all the time. Then it's like, okay, you do have anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's something that I love, that I really, really like about being able to be a creative person and write scripts and stuff like that, is that I can also help people find or like open up about their struggles and kind of encourage them to, hey, it's okay if you're struggling. We're all struggling in some way. I mean, you see how your character is behaving that way. You relate to that character. Well, guess what? You are that character. So,
and that's good to have them embodying that, because they are better to engage in what they're doing. What inspired you to address anxiety in your writings and also in your podcasting?
I mean, it's because everybody deals with it. Like everybody goes through it. Everybody is affected by it in some way, whether they have, I mean, if they didn't go through it themselves personally, there's people around them. Like, you're surrounded by people every day who are dealing with anxiety, and it's like stuff we see in the real world. Like the real world, we see stuff going on like poverty and people die and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of terrible stuff that goes on in the world, and anxiety is one of them. It's like one of them, because you might not be affected by it, but you see how it affects other people. Like, it's around you everywhere,
That's true. What are your ways of coping with, when you have anxious days?
Keep busy. Keep busy is one. Find what makes you happy. Find what gives you purpose, I guess. And just take a moment, breathe, relax. Some people get anxiety, but they don't have like full-on anxiety attacks. That's a big one. But no, I say, just find your niche is what I say. Find your niche, find what you're passionate about, and just keep on doing it. But then also know when to admit defeat, in a way, like know that, okay, I do have anxiety. I might have to, if I want to get better, I got to deal with it, talk about it. And really with anxiety, I think talking about it is the best method.
That's true. That's pretty much true, especially when you have a listener. So for most of your personal anxiety related theme, how do you explore it into your work?
A lot of the shows I do and have written, I write them based on like how people actually are. Like one of my all-time favorite playwrights, if not my favorite playwright, is Neil Simon, because he writes characters like to a T. He writes how people talk. He writes how people are, and that's what I wanted to do. And then also one of my favorites too is Norm Foster. Norm Foster does the same way. Local Canadian playwright. Okay. Or he's actually in Toronto. Yeah. So that's the best way to just talk about how people feel. And I mean, whether it's anxiety related or it's just anything in general, you make a joke in a play about something about, I don't know, what's the deal with taxes and stuff like that. People will just start laughing because they do it all the time. Or like one of the best shows I've ever seen was Come From Away. I had the privilege of seeing that in New York, and you can tell in the audience who was Canadian and who wasn't, because they would, when they would make references to like, well, I'm going to Shoppers or I'm going to Tim Hortons or the Lions Club, people would just start laughing. But then the Americans are like, that's not funny. But to us, we're like, that is relatable to us. So that's really, just write stuff that people can relate to.
Which is good, which is definitely good. What is your best advice on managing anxiety and high pressure, in the industry? Because I know that work can be demanding, clients can be demanding, and just life on a whole is just like a whole weight on your shoulder.
Self-care is important. That's one thing I've learned. Don't bite off more than you can chew, is something that you learn when you're doing this type of stuff. Because if you keep saying yes, I'll do that, then by the end of it, you're just overwhelmed. You can't function, and just think, why did I start this to begin with? If it becomes, it's also, it's what you love, of course, but also you don't want to make it something you don't love because you've taken on too much. So I say just find a balance, find what works for you. You know you better than you know yourself and what you can handle. And because that's something that people will deal with. They think, oh, just because I did this, I can do that, and I can do this, and I can do that. But it doesn't always work that way. It's not always going to go your way. You got to know yourself, know what you can handle, and know when to say no. That was one of my troubles starting out, was that I was always just, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. And then by the end, I'm like, holy heck, what did I get myself into? So
spiral.
Why did I say yes to this? And I mean, at the end of the day, you're grateful that you had the opportunity, but you also want to make sure, what good is it if you're dead at the end of it? You work yourself to death. So that's just know your limits, is what I'd say.
That's true. How do you think that your mental health, your anxiety has progressed now that you're more in tune with it, know how to manage it, and understand a little bit more about it?
I've learned, one thing I've learned is talking about it makes it better. I know it's almost like if you have like bad knee pain or whatever, you're not going to fix it if you don't get better, like get physical help. And same with anxiety. Anxiety is a mental health problem. So if you're not dealing with it, like you're going through it and you're not reaching out for help, it's the equivalent of, like I said, physical problems. You have a bad knee, you have a bad back, you're having bad abdominal pains. You got to get physical help to get it checked out. That's true. And to get better. And the same deal with anxiety, except it's mental. Nobody sees it, but everybody just hears about it and just says, oh, whatever, he's fine, I think I've certainly, because as soon as I came out talking about that I go through anxiety and stuff, people were like, what? No, you what? Geez, you're fine. Don't worry about that. Like what do you mean? Like people just don't know. And that's the problem. That's the thing why mental health is so big, is because nobody sees it. If if you're missing a leg, people see that. If there's a piece missing from you on the inside from anxiety, depression, all that stuff, nobody sees that because it's inside. So almost like you have to know it better than anybody else does.
That's true. And that's some sound advice. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Franky, for being a part of the podcast interview and being on the Think Different podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.